talking Boston's these talks. On my side, I have Bobby Brooks. We're going to talk about the Bruins. We're going to talk about free agency, what they did, what we should expect coming into this year, and then a little bit of expansion draft, and then the rookies coming in. But first, we got to talk about Sportsbook. Caesar Sportsbook. That's our sponsor. They're in New Jersey, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and you could use their promo code Sports20RF, and it's risk-free, so you can give that a try. And then for the NFL preseason, you don't know what's going to happen early, so definitely go get your bets in and see what you can get. All right, now we'll talk about the Bruins. So last thing that happened for the Bruins was a disappointing loss to the Islanders, Game 6, in their buildings, or in our own building. So, we saw a lot going on there. So, Bobby, go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to start there and just kind of build off of that disaster that happened in that series. So,
yeah,
come out strong in Game 1, you push them around, you're lighting the lamp, and everything looks good and dandy, and then things started going downhill real quick. You had guys, for the first time all season, like you didn't even see it in regular season games, you had guys not skating back on deals, like they just wanted to go home and play golf for the summer. So,
yeah. You saw, I think even in the second game, I think Charlie Coyle had that first goal where he just went right up the ice, and it looked like it was going to be cashing in for a 2-game lead, and then all of a sudden, it all just plummeted, and then we lose the game off a pass that we had go off one of our skates, and then their fourth line winger picks it up and has a breakaway, and that's how we lose that game in Boston. You had a feeling that this could have been, you kind of knew what could come.
And the flip side of that is, even if we did get through the Islanders, let's just say they never sat back on their heels, they recovered, came out firing fine. Like, what are you going to do against the Tampa Bay Lightning when they're $20 over the cap? Like,
no. That team, what's funny too with that rule, everyone says it's horrible, but way back, I think it was 2 years ago when the league voted on it, Tampa was trying to get rid of it. And so, you know what?
So they just took they gave it right back to them. And hey, I wouldn't be sitting here complaining if the Bruins did the same thing.
No, I'd encourage it. One
of those things in sports that, it stinks, but you wouldn't be complaining if your team did it. So,
look, if you're playing GM, you're doing everything you can to win. So, if you're not trying to cheat to win, I guess you're not exhausting all options. So,
and going back to that Islanders series, before we talk about what we did in free agency and the draft and such, what was awful to see is by Game 4, 5, people were just setting up shop on top of the crease in front of Tuukka. We just could not move them. So, Matt Grzelcyk's down there playing with a concussion. He's trying, but undersized defensemen are great and stuff, moving the puck and on offense. But I like what we did in free agency by going to get a guy like Forbort from Winnipeg.
From Winnipeg, yeah. You saw, I think for us, we're longtime Bruins fans, at least 10+ years. So now, this is the first time in my life I could really say that we got bullied in the playoffs. We got bullied. It was bad.
You go back to 2011. Johnny Boychuk, Adam McQuaid, Chara when he wasn't old. Dennis, you had guys that were not letting people sit on top of the crease. And with that being said, people weren't even trying to sit on top of the crease because they were terrified.
Yeah. It didn't happen. And now you saw an Islander, especially with the Islanders, the Caps, they were physical, but we outplayed them. But you saw the Islanders just dictate the entire flow. You saw them move us, make us go we had to, if it wasn't for our perfection line, we had nothing going on. So.
Yeah, and then you have teams that aren't scared to go in the corner against us because they're not worried about getting just annihilated. That did not happen. Even that 2013 team that lost to Chicago, we got outplayed, but Patrick Kane and Jonathan Tate with their head on a swivel every time they went in the corner to pick up a puck. So I did like seeing the addition of Forbort. I did need to add a couple, either trade or do something. You need a couple more physical defensemen because Kevin Miller retired, even though he wasn't really healthy the last couple of years he was here. That's a physical presence that's gone now. So Charlie McAvoy has stepped up and played physical, but you don't want him being a physical defenseman because he's hurting himself. He's your best defenseman. You need him on the ice. You can't be having him be your enforcer.
No, and the thing with him too, he's now that two-way guy where he's really come into that role where he is starting to be the Kings had Drew Doughty come into that role a couple of years ago. That's now we're starting to see that with Chucky. And you can't have him playing, I mean, in that Islander series at 29, 28 minutes a game. And then and they even knew it's like once we take him out, they have nothing else down there. Kyle Palmieri gives him a nice elbow to the jaw. Should have been a major, but, in New York, which is great. So, I mean, Chucky gets off the ice, and they have just free reign. There was no control. So, Forbert he is 6'4", 220 out of Duluth, Minnesota. He knows nothing but hitting people. That's what we need. I want Carlo to remember how to play hockey. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. That poor guy.
Carlo can stay healthy. He's great. Those three defensemen are solid. You need another guy though.
I thought we were gonna get Suter.
It's tough.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get Ryan Suter out of Minnesota, but to
be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I didn't like how he had just the way he handled himself with the front office. All that stories where they were like, "Hey, we might extend you," and he was like, "I'm worth so much more," and then just shuts off all communications. That's never good. So you know what? I'm okay. We passed on that.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I like losing Jeremy Lauzon. I'm all right with that. Bringing in Forbert, I'm all right with that.
I'm also very all right with it. He had flashes of greatness, but then in the play, he coughed up the puck in our own end. I can't even count how many times. It's so frustrating watching him. He just looked like a deer in the headlights. He'd get the puck after Tuukka turns the puck to the corner, big save, and then he'd look up and he'd just sit there and then eventually dump it across the middle, intercepted, going the other way. It happened at least 3 times in the Islanders series. We coughed up the puck and it resulted in a goal for them. Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to probably eat my words because he reminds me a lot of Colin Miller, if you remember from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, right.
Where is he now? He's jumped around a couple of places, but he's turned into a good young little defenseman. But yeah, we just gotta hit on a defenseman just from somewhere because right now you don't have the cap. So we didn't have the cap to sign anyone big, and we gotta try to work out a trade somehow. But the issue is the Bruins are in this rut where you're not going to be able to give up picks or prospects to get a good defenseman. You're going to have to give some again. So.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. What the Bruins have right now is, I mean, I'd still say we have a roster that's win ready that can get going now, but it's just that you better hope that defense, there's not a lot of depth. And I mean, hockey and playoffs, it's depth. So
you better hope that Studnicka or one of these guys in Providence can step up because David Krejci retiring leaves a hole in the center of the ice for them.
You know what I mean, so that whole story for people that don't really know it, I think he's 39, 38 going, so he's getting up there, and it's time for him to stay in the Czech Republic. So that's what he came out and said. He misses his family. It's time to raise his family there. So I get it, but I think that creates. I mean, I think Charlie Coyle's been that third line center, where on any other team he's center 2 at least. So I think he's going to come into that role alongside Hall, alongside Craig Smith. So I think him, Taylor Hall, Craig Smith together for a full season where they're not playing where we're not playing the Islanders seven times a year. We're only playing them 2 times this year, which is a little bit of a bummer. But, I mean, you're not going to play those physical teams where it's like, hey, we better be able to keep our head on a swivel. We're going to see some offense. So that's what I want to see out of our second line, which really we struggled with after that Capital series.
Yeah. I mean, your bottom 2 lines were basically non-existent.
No
one's going to Stanley Cup. You need some form of production offensively from your third and fourth line. Not every game, but you need those great goals, and we weren't getting them. So that's why I'm going to be interested to see what our bottom 3 lines are really going to be looking like. I mean, Richie's gone now too. So there's another guy that's out here. So
I'm okay with that.
He was essentially a traffic cone. Besides,
yeah, seriously, he wasn't
a random 10 game strip he went on. It was he had 8 goals or something just sitting in front of the net on power plays, and it was oh my god, he's awesome. I was like, I could sit on top of the crease and knock it on an empty net too.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're gonna tell me who would you rather, Nick Foligno or Nick Ritchie, I mean, that's not even a contest.
I mean, there's some D3 hockey players in this country I'd rather have on the ice than Nick Ritchie for the Bruins.
Honestly, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing too. He tried to be that physical guy, but he didn't change anything on the ice. I mean, so I'm okay with that. I think that's where Nick Foligno is going to come in that that third line. He's going to be a big bully. He's one of those old vets too, where you heard Bergeron, you heard him absolutely like politicianing for him to get in here. Like bring him into Boston. We need a guy like that.
Because he changes the tone in the locker room too. And that's really where all this starts, is a mentality in there. But we'll see. I mean, Bergeron will come into his own as the head honcho. Last season was his first time being a captain, which was long overdue. See where we go from here. I mean, I think the next thing we should address the elephant in the room, that Tuukka Rask has probably played his last game in Boston.
You think so? You think that's it for him? I know. So just to give background, his injury, his groin that he's getting surgery on, let's say he's still a free agent technically. He's not even signed, but he will not be available, best case scenario, till January.
They said, what was it, 4 to 7 months recovery time, and he's not young.
He's not young.
We're paying a goalie $5 million a year right now, Olmark, so you're not bringing him in to sit on the bench and back him up, because Wayman, who's a stud and he's 20 years old, so they weren't comfortable having him start, obviously, right away. So he'll be the backup. He'll get some action this year too. But you're bringing in Olmark, who it looks like his loss record's bad. He had over 900 save percentage with the Buffalo Sabres in front of him playing hockey, which is just disgusting to think about.
Look, I mean, I said this early on. If you're a team that going just for draft order, let's just go look at the NHL draft. You, as the organization, Buffalo Sabres, they were worse as a team than a team that has 0 signed players, 0 actual games won or lost. They deserve the number 1 pick over a team that had no players. That's brutal. And then you have Jack Eichel, who's supposed to be the best American player, gets hurt. Taylor Hall is like, hey, I hate it here. Get me out of Buffalo, please. I'm begging you.
We gave a bucket of used hockey pucks for Taylor Hall, and it just kills me every time I think about it.
Yeah, honestly. That trade was comical. I mean, it must have been so desperate, and I mean, Buffalo knew they were not going to re-sign him. I mean, that's no secret. I even think Eichel. The rumor has it that Eichel and Marner are going to swap. Though picks too, but that you don't want to go to Buffalo. No. For Owen Powers, he's going to be a good talent, but I get him out.
I mean, and like the flip side of that coin is like, even if the Buffalo Sabres are the number 1 team in the NHL, you're in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, I mean,
no one wants to be up that way.
And that too, it's not like your baseball season is it's not like you're playing in the pretty time when it's in the spring. You're in Buffalo, New York from October to, you're not going to the playoffs. So October to April. You better be wearing some ugly Timbs, because you're going to be getting slush on your feet all the time. You better have extra socks. I mean, I don't feel bad saying all this. I mean, Buffalo is what it is.
It is.
It is.
Not random, but back on the train of thought of looking into the future, Charlie McAvoy is a unrestricted free agent next year.
I mean,
what are you going to have to pay him? You're going to have to think about, because next year I think we have a couple contracts up. You're going to have to start picking and choosing, because if we don't give him the money he is looking for, and he is a top DP, he's a top 2 defenseman on any team in the NHL. You're going to have to shell out the bag for him, because if you don't, he will happily, and I've been saying this for 2 years because I'm a pessimistic Bruins fan.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the first train back to Long Island and play for the Islanders and their new team, because that's where he's from. He was born in Long Island. So if you don't throw a bag at him and someone else is willing to, I promise you that kid's on the first train out of here.
I mean, look, if we're playing GM and I enjoy it, Charlie can walk in and say, look, I'm worth this, and you say, yeah, you are.
I'd hand him a blank check.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me think. Well, how long's he been here? 3 years?
3 or 4 years, and he is
24 probably, or 25.
Yeah. We had enough confidence in him to say, hey, that captain that we've had for 100 years or so, we're going to let him go because you're ready. I don't think, and I don't get any sense that anyone in the Bruins organization is thinking about this twice. This is going to be they're going to try and say, hey, make this as team friendly as possible. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Charlie. And he well deserved. He's going to get what he wants, and he should.
He will. He will, and he should.
He will, and he should. Yeah. Taylor Hall's a big signing, though. We should talk about that.
So, I love it. We didn't pay him. Paid him a good amount of money. We didn't give him too much money. I don't hate the contract. He's great. He's young, and what I like is that him and Pasternak are best friends.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, he just got engaged too. He's going to be in Boston. I think this is now. You've seen a guy go from. I mean, the Calder, right? The MVP, the Calder. He hoists that in 2018.
Or 3. Wasn't it? Yeah, 4 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah, now 4. So on the New Jersey Devils, which is, I mean. It's funny, the New Jersey Devils, you have the MVP and Taylor Hall. The Mets have, DeGrom, who's one of the best pitchers to ever pitch
probably
right
the best
now.
Team alive, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those poor it's just so unfortunate.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, you hate to see it. So he's like, get me out, goes to Arizona with Phil Kessel and, brings them to the playoffs, makes a little noise, nothing there. Goes to Buffalo, hoping that him and Eichel are going to be this great pair. And you just see a guy that his talent level was just, I mean, one of one. And then now, I mean, I think you saw a guy really lose some confidence, really lose some value in himself. And now you see him come to Boston, find his own light. And the end of the season, after the deadline, the trade deadline, Bruins, post-deadline, that was a scary team. That was a scary team that got eaten away with defensive injuries, which.
Yeah, they got like a team like that. When we were going in the playoffs, I knew this team cannot afford a single injury because we were not deep. And what happened is we fell apart. Tuukka's seeing 40 shots a game.
Yeah.
You can't win the Stanley Cup doing that. You can win a couple rounds, like that, everyone excited, but
yeah. But so I think Taylor Hall too now getting a full regular season, 82 games. Hopefully 82 games under his belt on that line. I think that's gonna be huge for the Bruins. And I think another guy that we should talk about is Eric Holla out of Nashville.
Yeah.
He's gonna be that good third line guy where he's really in that Jake DeBrusk kind of category where he's got some nice mitts, he's got some hustle, he'll get up and down the ice, but he's a guy that can kind of create some havoc. He doesn't have the talent that Marchand has, but he has that gritty, that just I'm going to be a nuisance kind of player. So, and I think we talked about it a little bit. Jake DeBrusk is on that hot seat. So I think depending on how great Holla plays, that could expedite like DeBrusk leave.
Yeah, like you're saying, like he'll provide something new. We've shaken up that bottom 2 lines this offseason. Is it the answer long term? No, but I'm glad they did something.
Yeah.
Stuff constant and shook it up. Got some new guys in here. See how they gel together. And yeah, DeBrusk is absolutely on the hot seat. He's claimed on social media because talk about a mental midget. I'm not sure if you see some of the things he's been putting out there. But like, I want to prove everyone wrong. No one knows what they're talking about. And I was like, all right, like he scored 31 goals a couple years ago. Like, congratulations. Relax.
Yeah.
But I hope he does. I hope he stuffs 33 goals in the net next season. It makes me sit down and be quiet. But
I would love to eat my words. I would love to eat my words. But I mean, you saw him get a healthy scratch in the playoffs. You see him get moved around. Like you're not hiding.
By the way,
I'm sorry.
I loved that move. By the way, Cassie was just like, you know what? No, sit down for a game. I loved that.
Yeah, I mean. You shitting me? Come on, man. You saw him skate around like he had weights in his skates. It was ugly at times. And
he looked like he didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. Thomas Nosek coming over.
Yep.
It's another good signing. He came from Vegas. He moved around a little bit, but that's gonna be another bottom 6 forward where he can make some noise. Not as up and down the ice as Holla, but he's a good piece.
He is. Like I said, I like that they're shaking
guy.
Up to bringing in some more guys. I mean, I'll take anyone over from Vegas. Everyone that's played there since their inception a couple of years ago is just gritty as anything. So
honestly, yeah, he is.
And I'll take a guy that'll go scrap in the corner, dig out the puck. Let's shake it up, see what happens this year.
Yeah. You know who the last forward I really want to talk about that I am really obsessed with this kid. I think he's gonna be a stud. Is Trent Frederick.
Yes.
You saw him come up a little bit, and I mean he's talking his shit to PK Subban. He was talking a lot. He was laying bodies. Who'd he fight? I think he fought Tommy Wilson, right?
He did. He got his ass kicked by Tom Wilson, but he stepped up and fought him.
I mean, look, if you're not Ryan Reeves, if you're not Adam McQuaid, you're not doing much to Tommy Wilson.
But Frederick, what I love is his first game ever with the Bruins. It was, 2 years ago now? 2.5 years ago? I'll never forget, he got into a fight, and his parents in the balcony were just going absolutely insane.
Love that. That's what we need. We want those crazy guys on the ice. That's what we need in our bottom six. And I really think that Krejci leaving, Coyle moving up a line, I really think this is his time. Corrali, sad to see him go, but it's gonna be another center spot.
This year, Corrali, I think, underperformed, but I've always been a big Corrali guy. I love him. Yeah, he worked his butt off. That's all you can ask. I miss Noel Acciari so much. I loved Noel Acciari. He was just so scrappy. He was like, if you crossbred Greg Campbell and Danny Pye from the 2011 team, like Noel Acciari is what pops out. It was just amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see. Like, you remember Ryan Spooner?
Oh God, do I? What did he wear? 51. He wore gray.
Yeah, he was our big ugly. He was a fourth line big ugly. Made a name for himself though. Oh, he was phenomenal. But
the players that have been in that ass organization. But
yeah, let's see. I mean, I love Wagner still. He's gonna be that fourth line. He played like what we needed. I mean, no, DeBrusk should have more talent than what he put out there. But I mean, Wagner was always moving up and down the ice. And that's what we needed.
You get what you get with Wagner, and it's expected, but he's never falls short of it. He's a spark plug. He's a very intelligent hockey player for his ability, and he hustles and he throws his butt. What he has, little of his weight, he throws it around, and I like it.
Yeah,
he's good in the corners too, which I think goes unnoticed because the bottom six forward, but he gets in there and he's very good at digging the puck out. If you just ever take a chance and watch him, he's very smart, methodical. Always knows where everyone is on the ice, and for a bottom six forward, that's a guy you want to keep around. So I think that is inevitably why he's one of the few guys we kept intact on those bottom two lines.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you one more question about our defense. I know.
You know how I am of our defense.
I know. But so you saw Torrey Krug, one of the best offensive defensemen we've seen in a while, I personally think. Unfortunately, you got Cale Makar, who's just rewriting what it means to be an offensive defenseman and then a guy that goes up and down.
Baby.
Yeah, he's another guy. I don't know if his contract came out yet, but he's going to get the Brinks truck.
He's good.
He's good at hockey. But so we have Mike Riley, we have Matt Grzelcyk, we have Connor Clifton. And they're all trying to fill in as that offensive defenseman. Who do you think right now? I mean, I think Grzelcyk has the most.
Grzelcyk played terrible this year. Granted, I'm not giving him a pass. He was playing through injuries all year, so whatever. Grzelcyk, the first 3 quarters of the season 2 years ago was awesome. So I think when healthy, Grzelcyk's your discounted Torrey Krug, but I also think Grzelcyk's better defensively than Torrey Krug.
Yeah.
Issue is he gets moved off the top of the crease just as easily as Torrey Krug, but at least he's better, I think, positionally, which Torrey Krug, loved the guy. I was not willing to pay him what the bag he got because I feel like you just can't give an offensive defenseman that much money and be a good hockey team.
No.
And what getting 7.5 sheets a year or something like that?
It's not. He needs to be Cale Makar to be deserving that money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only guy that I really see with that much offensive poise to really deserve that kind of money and it being in a defensive role.
Yeah,
I mean that kid is just. I mean, he's probably going to change what it means to be a defenseman as we watch. I mean, I don't think that's as hot as a take as I'm saying, but I think Cale Makar is going to kind of rewrite it where you don't really have a big Chara or one of the old-fashioned guys like a Chris Pronger who is just down low beating the hell out of people. You don't have that anymore. You got to be able to I mean, like
both.
what Chucky's doing. He's physical, but he goes up the ice. He goes up the ice with a puck. Roman Yossi, another really, really good, talented guy in Nashville. You got to be able to play both ways now. That's hockey.
Closest thing you'll get, I think, the next 5 years to like those big, strong defensemen is you need a guy like Shea Weber, basically. It's like a big guy who can move people off the top of the crease, but he's very gifted with the puck offensively. You can't be having these hack stonehand defensemen running around the ice anymore because the game's different. A lot like the NFL. Like a Marshawn Lynch doesn't really work nowadays. I mean, excuse me, Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry has some pass catching ability. Isn't a great example. LeGarrette Blount. But LeGarrette Blount is like the last of the power running backs in the NFL. You got to be more versatile because it's too easy for a team to stack the box now.
And I mean, I think you look at your linebackers. You look at Devin White. That guy runs a 4.340.
That's change why you can't have those power backs because you have these fast linebackers now that can still hit like the big fat immovable middle linebacker in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Like you have a Devin White that, like you said, can move. But so the same thing translating back to the NHL, you need a guy like Charlie McAvoy that has the hands, has the intelligence, but he's also fast, athletic, can play defense. You need those all-around guys now to build off your D-cores.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why you saw Matty Barzal, not the biggest guy on the Islanders, but everyone's screaming, just, hey, can you hit him? Can you hit him? And you watch him move, and it's like, oh, no.
How nice would it have been if we drafted him and not, what's his face?
I don't want to talk about it.
We'll talk about
No, Bobby, I don't want to talk about that because that was picks. In that 2016 draft, we had pick 13, 14, and 15. Barzal was picked at 16.
Who else got picked? Was Panarin in that draft, too, after him?
He might have.
The Russian from one of the Russians from the Capitals, not Capitals, Tampa.
That whole team is Russian. That one too. That whole team is Russian. Sergachev?
Sergachev. Could have had him. That would have been nice.
Well, here the guy we got in that draft that we haven't really seen too much of, which I think this year was supposed to be with Char leaving, everything moving up one in that defensive role was Zabril. I think it's Jacob Zabril. We'll see what he does this year. But he's not doing what Barzal's doing.
Saboro?
Yeah, Saboro. Yeah, it's. I mean, he's from the Czech. It's Jacob Jakub Zboril.
Yep, Saboro. Yep,
it's close. So hey, all right. I think that's gonna wrap it up for our first segment here. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the Sports 2.0 Network. This is Talking Boston, and this is Bees Talk. I'm Spencer.
I'm Bobby.
And we hope to see you next week.